Hi everybody, my name is Sam Pedro and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about the author Kazuo Ishiguro. I just finished his latest book, Clara and the Sun, and I thought maybe I should do a video about who Kazuo Ishiguro is, what are some of the books he has written, and I'll make the case that if you haven't yet, you should definitely read one of his books because they are really great works. He recently won the Nobel Prize in Literature as a recognition of the great works that he has created. So if you're new to my channel, this is kind of the third episode since I made a departure away from just book summaries and more to big ideas and kind of just books in general. And so welcome. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'd greatly appreciate that. But to talk about Kazuo Ishiguro, if you don't know who he was originally born in Japan, but pretty early on in his life, I think he was 4 or 5, his family moved to Great Britain, and so that is where he was raised. And I remember I can't remember if it was an article or an interview, but he's talked pretty openly about how, living in England, but being raised by parents who are from Japan, how that might have, changed his outlook in life. I've watched a couple of interviews of Ishiguro, and I think he's just full of insights. And so I'd recommend checking out some interviews of him as well if you're interested in learning more about him. But Ishiguro is pretty well respected in the literary world, as I already mentioned. He did win the Nobel Prize in literature. He's won all sorts of awards. His books have won all sorts of awards, the Booker Prize and a host of others. And for good reasons. These are great books. And so the book I'll probably talk about the most of his, and probably his most well-regarded work, is The Remains of the Day. And when I was thinking about this, so I think this will help show how I feel about Ishiguro and about how great his work is I read The Remains of the Day about a year and a half ago, and I can still talk about it. I know what the big themes and the big ideas were in that book. That was a year and a half ago, this work of fiction, and it was almost like an emotional gut punch where it got me thinking about my life, where I was feeling for the protagonist from the book and the things that he was doing. I just couldn't believe it. It really affected me in so many different ways, and it's been a year and a half, and I don't know of another work of fiction where I can, a year and a half later, that's a rare thing where I can just be like, yes, here's everything that I felt and I still feel, and I can tell you all these details. I think I can give you details about books, but to the level that I can with The Remains of the Day is just not the same. And the reason why, as I've reflected on this, is I think Ishiguro is really good at taking big, complex ideas, human issues, and wrapping them and intertwining them into a masterful story, because he's a storyteller. And I think when you combine those two things, big ideas with great storytelling, I think it makes it more powerful, and ideas are flowing off of the page. Because, I think about The Remains of the Day, there was themes of loyalty in there. And I learned more about loyalty, from that book than just going and buying a book about loyalty, like a nonfiction book. And so that's why I really like Ishiguro's. He's really good at that. I've read 3 of his books now, and I find that that's true with each one. But The Remains of the Day, so it's about a butler, and he's in England, and he works at this great house, which is like an English manor or a mansion, and he works for this guy named Lord Darlington, and he's at the end of his life, and he's taking a trip across England, and he's reflecting back on his time serving Lord Darlington, and it's just powerful. It's almost like, we read as he's reflecting on his life, there were so many missed opportunities because he was 100% loyal to Lord Darlington, and so many different things and opportunities that were coming into his life, and he just totally misses it. So it made me think about my career. It made me think about other pursuits that I'm pursuing, and really made me consider, what I'm doing with my life. And so really like The Remains of the Day. They made it into a movie, which is a masterpiece in its own right. I really enjoyed the movie. The other book I read of Ishiguro's was Never Let Me Go. For sake of time, I won't go into what it's about, but I really enjoyed that. And then the book I just finished was Clara and the Sun, which came out in March 2021, so just a few weeks ago. And I really did enjoy Clara and the Sun. And just to give a brief summary about what it's about, it deals with themes of AI and technology, and like how does that work in a world where AI is becoming more and more complex and becoming more and more human-like. And so this book is actually told through the lens of or from the perspective of someone who actually is AI. I'll call it an artificial friend. I think that's what the book says. And so we're seeing the world through this artificial friend's eyes. And so in this world that Ishiguro has created, people are buying these artificial friends to kind of have as companions. And so the book starts off in a shop where this artificial friend is waiting for a customer to buy her. And so it gives her kind of her observation as customers come in, and eventually one of the customers purchases her. And that's kind of that's the basis for the rest of the story. But I really did enjoy it. It's not my favorite. I still think The Remains of the Day is Ishiguro's best work. But I liked Clara and the Sun. I thought it was really good. A lot of themes in there, in a world that's changing more and more to kind of that complex AI in our everyday life. And so, yeah, I just thought I'd take this video to highlight Ishiguro. I really respect him. I like his works. I'm going to read more of his works. I think I'm going to read The Buried Giant next. But if you read more of his books and you have recommendations about what to read, please comment those down below. Let me know what your favorite Ishiguro books are, or if you plan on reading some of his books now that you've watched this video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.